Okay, it's time for another review of Kamen Rider Geats. We're up to episode 43. Kamen Rider Geats, episode 43, creation part 5. His name is Gya-Go or Gya-Go. I don't know, translations are weird. So, Kamen Rider Geats, episode 43. Last week's episode, we saw Keiwa getting his wish granted to revive everyone who had been killed in the Desire Grand Prix. And that meant everyone. And with a wish being granted like this, where it says revive everyone who had been killed in the Desire Grand Prix, of course there was going to be a monkey's paw effect because, you know, a wish this big is going to have some setbacks, and with a wish like this being granted, it revived a few bad eggs, getting brought back in the world of Kamen Rider Geats, and that being a character known as Kirito Asari. And this character is basically a biker gang. He led something called the Gang Riders, apparently, and he's not a cool dude, he's a bad dude. And as soon as Keiwa's wish is granted and the big reset button is switched, the world goes to shit right away, as before Keiwa's even able to reunite with him, his family is killed amongst the chaos, and unfortunately he is unable to reunite with him. So, of course, this being a big monkey's paw effect, I was not expecting that to happen right away within the episode. Like, Keiwa didn't even get his happy moment, and I thought this would happen. It'd be a be careful what you wish for situation with certain characters who were killed in the game getting revived. And of course, that being Keiwa's family, he kind of copped it and they were taken away from him before he even got to say anything to him. So, of course, with Kirito being a troublesome dude, he caused a big prison riot, and this breaks out Neon's dad from jail, but it also breaks out the person who killed Kousei Kurama, the original Neon, that being Kazuko Numa Bukuro. I can't pronounce that name, but yeah, the guy who killed Kosei's daughter from all those years ago, the original Neon, is out of jail, and of course, Beraba being Beraba, she's like, hey, go kill that guy, go fuck shit up and go mess with him, because that's what I like people doing. And of course, that's what they do in this episode. And we'll touch on that bit later on in the review, where Kosei has his great moment in this episode. So Keiwa confronts Jito, and Keiwa's like, hey, we need to bring back my parents, this isn't what I wished for. And Jito's like, hey, you're the one who said revive everyone. This is why this guy's alive, because you didn't think that there'd be some bad eggs coming back. Exact kind of what I said in my start of my review. You didn't expect on some bad people slipping through the cracks when you said revive everyone. And Jito spins it on by saying, hey, Samuri's got his powers, she hasn't been fully godificationized, so there's some setback with her powers. But if we get rid of Ace, because Ace is kind of stopping that, we can wish for anything we want once her goddess powers fully awaken. So, of course, they're spinning that story on Keiwa to get rid of Ace, so that way they can have Samuri fully awaken her goddess powers, so that way Keiwa can keep being healed for as long as he can to sort of get the perfect world that he wants. So, Keiwa being Keiwa, he confronts Kirito and wipes the floor with him with his Shogun powers. Like, dude didn't even stand a chance, so he basically takes over the Rider gang moving forward and commences with Operation Kill Ace to make sure Samuri can become a goddess. So that's their plan moving forward. So while this is going on, you've got Akari's killer stalking Neon and Kosei, and eventually Neon gets kidnapped by the big bad dude, and history begins to repeat itself, where Neon is held hostage, and of course the kidnapper's like, hey, I'm at the same place I kidnapped Akari all those years ago. If you want to see her back alive, bring back this amount of yen, and maybe I'll let her live. So, of course, Kosei starts to have like a moment of like, he has a moment where he's like, all I want in my world is I want my daughter's happiness, and that's what he wants to live in. He doesn't want history to repeat itself, and he regrets that he wasn't able to do anything back then. So this is a great moment for Kosei in this episode. So, of course, Kosei goes to rescue Neon, but on the way, he meets Ace. Now, this is sort of told within the flashback during the fight, once Kosei transforms into Gya-Go, but he has this great moment where he asks Ace to participate in the Desire Grand Prix so he can save Neon. And he gets on his hands and knees and bows before him because he realizes that what he wants is Neon's happiness. And he can't do that if he's not strong enough to protect it. So Kosei has a really great moment. And of course, Daddy Time Fire, being Daddy Time Fire, has a cool henshin moment. And I'm so glad, like, this dude actually got to transform in this episode, because I was thinking that he would, like, go through the entire series without transforming. But of course, he's known for playing Time Fire back in the day. So of course, he got the transform in this episode, and it's a really cool henshin scene that he gets. Like, he goes all out with his, like, movement and his body pose and stuff like that. It's freaking great. So his suit is pretty cool because he's using the fantasy buckle, which is going to be Neon's big power-up moving forward. Something that was leaked a while ago. I was thinking that Neon would, like, be using this first, but it looks like Neon's going to inherit this power. So, we'll see that next week's episode. We'll have that discussion moving forward. But Kosei confronts the killer, gets into a big fight with him in the kitchen. Really cool fight scene, as, like, even though Kosei is, like, really old, he's got the sort of motif of a wildcat, so he's fighting very animalistic. I cannot speak right now. He's fighting very vicious, like you can say, where he's just, like, throwing me across the room. He's going in, like, for, like, all the close punches and stuff like that. It's a really cool fight scene. But of course, Beraba being Beraba and Kekora being Kekora, they interfere with the fight, and which kind of sucks because we're probably going to get a conclusion to this fight in next week's episode. But it sucks that we had, like, the interference with those two heels being Beraba and Kekora, because it kind of took away from Kosei's moment where he looks like he was on the up and up. He looks like he was going to win, but they interfered, of course, with the fight, which kind of sucks because it was like three against one. Ace tried to intervene, but Ace, even though he was in Mark 9, couldn't do shit against Kekora in that form because he kept, like, using that tongue and knocking him back a bit. So again, the power scaling for Ace's final form is all over the place. Power scaling in this show has been all over the place for the longest time when it comes to Geats, especially last week's episode. That was something. But it ended on a cliffhanger as the two parties were fighting, and I get the feeling that Kosei will probably not win this fight, and it's going to be up to Neon to pick up the slack. Now, I'm hoping that Kosei defeats his killer, so that way his arc can end and he can get justice for that. Because if they don't have him get justice for, like, sort of apprehending or defeating, like, his daughter's killer, then that kind of sucks. But seeing next week's episode preview, looks like Neon's going to play some kind of role moving forward, and she's going to get the fantasy buckle. So is Kosei going to die? No idea.